Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Welcome, Michael Benchetrit. Mazal Tov. Thanks for coming. Daughter, you. Yeah, hello. All right, we gotta go. Yishkoya, who else do we have? Guests. We have a lot of guests today. Full house, Baruch Hashem. Who else? You were here last night. I saw somebody. He's oh, what's your name? David Lisker. You're new. You've been here
8 times.
It's getting worse and worse by the day. Okay, listen. You were shaved last time, probably. No. From where? Where are you from? Passaic. Wow. I should remember Passaic. I'm not asking anybody else. Okay, you're all. Who else? He's old from Muncie. All right. Max Aquinin, $18. Michael Walker, $36. Sean Sachs, $18. This is just from Motzei Shabbos this morning. Yeshukoyach Shlomo Yal, Fishless, $15. And Moshe Hamburg, $18. That's it. For a total, just last night and today, a total of $25,000. This just from these people. It's monthly. So 18 plus 18, and last night we had a bunch of 300s. And don't forget, Rabbi Isai, whoever is any amount, you get to be in the Gemara Baba Kama on the front leaf or this whatever one of those pages. L'netzach nitzachim. Also, Baruch Hashem, I'm pretty sure official. Yeah, where's Tom? Official is coming through big time for Mesechus Baba Kama, at least Baba Kama, maybe even Baba Metzia and Baba Basra. We're still looking for more sponsors for the actual Masechta, but he's the main sponsor for those three. Rabbi Strezninsky, something like that. Trzynski. You know the guy? He knows everybody. Gudvach. He's the founder of Card Player Lifestyle. I'm sure my son is very familiar with this. Good vach, Hashem has been exceedingly good to me and my family this year. As an expression of my gratitude and emunah, I would like to please increase my monthly donation to MDY from the current 36 to 100 a month, starting the next billing cycle on October 20th. Is this something I kindly ask for you to please coordinate and arrange for? I hereby confirm that this is my wish and that this email please act as a legally binding request to aforementioned. Many thanks. Maybe this is written by his many attorneys that he has. Many thanks, and please kindly confirm once you've been able to process my request. There's something else I need to do. Please let me know. Yeshukoyach, Gemar Chasima Toiva, Rabbi Alexander Brenner, Reb Eli Gudvach. Kiddushin is on fire. One amazing daf out another. Since Sukkah Daf Beis, never thought I would get past Daf Hey of Sukkah. Here I'm daffing at my daughter's swimming lesson. Here he is. Yesher Koyach. Oh, so last night, you can ask Donnie, he's sitting in the back. Last night I called Donnie out. I said, when the Mishnah said, he has Mikra, Mishnah, and Midas, the first thing that came to mind is Donnie. This morning he sends me this. When did you get it, Donnie, this video? Like 5 a.m. You got it also this morning, 5 a.m. I say, take a look, have a little joy, Erev Yom Kippur.
Okay.
Sound? No, it's good. It's a long one. This is Donnie Schwer, father-in-law.
He can pick this up over here when he's here. It's very light. Let's see what it is.
Donnie sent him a gift.
Oh my goodness! I can't believe it! This is so funny! Oh my goodness! Good morning! Whoa!
What are we supposed to do with this? Oh, that's funny.
We're gonna hang it up in the sukkah with all the big rabbanim. After all, I always admired Reb Eli. Day after day after day, he does the daf. Because Chevron, Bet Shemesh, and all over the world.
You know, it is nice for the
This is
sukkah.
not an easy thing to do. So yeah, it's a little bit of a gag, but
Maybe it is for the sukkah.
very, very nice. I love this. This is great. I can put it with our other picture, Donnie. Yeah. Remember this?
Look at the nachas.
When we're all together at the Shir in Bet Shemesh with Reb Eli, I can put that up.
Donnie, you're a good son-in-law.
So now
Sending
I have
gifts.
my Reb Eli connection.
Collection or connection?
Collection.
All right, Givaldik. Shkoyach. The Masechta is sponsored by Lakewood Lebovic families, Lakewood, New Jersey, because Torah. Rabbi say somebody sent in a picture of a beautiful sukkah with that poster hanging, but they didn't give me reshus to show it. So if you know of another sukkah, just once a year. Lakewood Lebovic, New Jersey, because Torah and achdus are the best segula. If you didn't hear, he said, "Oh, you could show it. You could show it." Paras achdus, Rochel bas Leba for Refuah Shlema b'Korev Amen. Paras achdus, nishmat Chaim bas Yosef. Paras achdus is zchut that our family should be blessed with health, nachas and simcha for 120. Paras achdus, Hatzlocha zchut Yosef Meir ben Rochel. Amen. Hatzlocha. Paras achdus, Elan Chaim Golan. Leiluy nishmat bat Sheva Chaya bat Miriam. Paras achdus, nishmat Zechariah ben Moshe. Paras Yom, Joshua Mandelbaum for refuah, for health, for Rochel bat Rivkah Channa. Amen. Paras Yom, Mazal Tov to the Zaida Yochanan, your grateful Baltimore cousins Yonah and Baila. Mazal Tov wherever you are. Do I know them? Probably. Sara Schnitzler. Shkoyach for that. No text. Huh? From the same person or? Okay. It's anonymous, should be anonymous. Art of the month, Yosef ben Chaya Sara for the schusim that come from supporting Limud Torah. And Rabbi Isai, we're here, Erev Yom Kippur. I see the Elan is chapping around the last possible moment. So I need to ask every single one, Mechila, for perhaps I insulted you, perhaps I after there's another one. Yishkoyach Yosef. I'm Mochel you. First and foremost, I have to ask you, Mechili, Yishkoyach for coming today. I was literally nervous that I might have to make that call. Yishkoyach. We're best friends. The other might not. That's why I'm doing this. I'm worried if I call you, you might not be Mochel. On the spot. You Mochel? Belev Shalom. Okay, good. Anyways, I'm not Mochel you. No, I'm just kidding. Tonight. You didn't say? No, okay. Chas v'shalom. Mochel believe shalom. Mochel, everybody believe shalom. So, Lauren, you Mochel? You'll think about it. Rebavi factor. You Mochel? I'll come over to you. You Mochel? Get over here. I can't. I'm all mic'd up. Come here. Get over here. Come. Come for the hug, no? You Mochel? Yishkoyach. Huh? I hug everybody. And Rabbi said, don't forget, please do me a toiva, Elio ben Ros, put in your tefillos. Arichas yamim, gesund, nachas, whatever you need to put in there. Yishkoyach. All right, Rabbi said, here we are. We're 4 lines from the bottom of Mem Aleph Amud Beis. We had yesterday, it says, V'shochat tu oisoi kol ka'al adas Yisrael ben harbayim, that all of Klal Yisrael shechs the carbon Pesach. Now, we said it's impossible for all of Klal Yisrael to shech one carbon. How do you have millions of people holding on to one knife and shechting? So it has to be the idea of shlichos. So over here, we see the idea that you could send an agent, a shliach, to shech the carbon for you. By kachim. Says Gemara, Nichal Rabbi Yishua ben Karcha. By the way, we're going to go through, it's typical Gemara, we're going to go through many different ideas and sugyas and just ideas. Honichel Rabbi Yishua ben Karcha, El Rabbi Yonasan, the mapik leila hai krolid rosh achrina. But according to Rabbi Yonasan, who uses this pasuk for something else, as we're going to see in a second, Minalan, how does he know that when it comes to kachim, when it comes to karbanos, he could send the shliach? The Sanya Rabbi Yonasan Omer, Minayin shekol Yisrael kulon yoytzim pesach echad, Shenemar v'shachatu oisek. So this is another halacha. This is a halacha that tells me that although typically speaking we thought that each person that's part of a group surrounding a carbon, eating from the carbon, each person has to get at least a kazayis. You have to have a shir achila. A new halacha. He holds, Reb Elchanan, that the entire millions of people could be part of one small sheep, even though obviously you can't have millions of kazayis in one sheep. So they're not even going to eat from it, perhaps, and that's also okay. He says you don't have to eat from the carbon pesach. You have to have a carbon pesach shechted for you. That's all you need. A huge halacha. So this pasuk comes to tell us a Kiddushin that you don't need to eat from the carbon pesach. According to him, we argue. So you do have to eat. He holds you don't have to eat from the carbon. You have to have a shliach shechted for you. So if he's already using this pasuk, not for shlichos, but he's using it for the halacha, the Klal Yisrael doesn't need to eat the Pesach. How does he know the idea of a shliach by kachim? Says Gemara, minei. Yes, he learns this halacha that all of Klal Yisrael doesn't have to eat, and they could be yaitza. But the yaitza, the idea of Pesach from one person shechting for them. So here you see the idea of shliach. Says Gemara, v'dil mashani asam. But again, how could you learn from carbon Pesach? Maybe it's different. This like shutvis b'gavayu. Maybe there's a special halacha when you are a partner and everybody in Klal Yisrael is going to give a little bit towards it. They're all shutvim. So then you can have one person shecht for you. How do you know that if a kohen is not your shutuf, he goes ahead and he shechts a carbon oila for you? How do you know that you're yaitza? Elan mahacha. V'yikru another pasuk. V'yikru ish sel beis avois sel abayis. So one person takes one sheep for the entire household. So you see the idea of shlichos. The father, the head of the household, whoever it is going to take a sheep and create a carbon pesach for everybody. What did you gain? Maybe the whole family participated. Everybody, whoever it is, gave the father a little bit, like you do with Hanukkah candles. If you don't have, you give the guy a balbas, a pruta. Everybody gave a little bit something, and therefore the father can check for them. How do you know the idea of shlichus by kachim? Says the Gemara in Kain, Trey Kroy Lamali. If so, why do I need two psukim saying the same exact thing? So here's a concept in Shas. I didn't put it in here. So we have a bunch of concepts today. If you have a pasuk telling you something that's completely not necessary, so you take it and you move it to somewhere else. It's for a different halacha, for a different place. So over here by Pesach, we have two psukim saying the same exact thing that you could use a shliach. What do I need it for? Obviously for Korban Pesach, we don't need it. And you said at Korban Pesach, it's possible that everybody's a shutuf. So Mela, it must be even in a case where there's no shutfus. By kachim, regular carbon, I go to the Beis Hamikdash, I bring my carbon, the kohen shechs for me, and he's my shliach, everything is great. Says Gemara, but wait a minute. Perhaps I need the second pasuk. I need for something else. We're going to use the word ish. Ish. An adult, he could be zoicha for other people. If an adult finds a bundle of money, he can lift it up and say, I want this money for Reuven. I want Reuven to have it. A katan cannot be zoicha. And this reminds me of the big issues that we have every year of purchasing esrogim and dalaminim from a katan. Not this year, because this year it's the Rabbana. But this year, yes, because Mashiach is coming. Nobody said, yeah, really. What a weirdo. Only Chabad believes in Mashiach? Shem Yirachem. Oh, you mean if there was Chabad, they all scream. I got it. Okay. It's taka schwachkeit. Schwach. So, again, next year, when you purchase from a katan, think twice of how it's done and who it is and who owns it. Is he shliach for the gadol, which is a problem? Does he own it himself? A bigger problem, because he can't really give it over to you. Okay. Sometimes there's a gadol there, and he's just manning it, but let's say a kid is walking around with a bunch of esrogim, well,
So just buy from a Golan.
okay, so I'm just throwing it out there. Again, I'm not a Rav. I'm just throwing it out there as an issue. Huh?
That's the kinyan. You give it to him. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, how else are you going to get it? Who owns it? You give him $20, he gives you esrog.
The money the kinyan.
But you can't make a kinyan from him. He doesn't have the right to give you anything. Okay? So that's a little bit of an issue. This year, not such an issue. Oh, says the Gemara. Ahu ish lefi ochle nafka. No, we have another ish somewhere else. That you could shecht it's a shaila. Could you shecht? First of all, there's one issue of anytime you shecht the korban pesach, you can't leave anything over. Not a single morsel of meat can't. So could you shecht the korban for a large guy, a guy that loves meat? He's gonna eat the entire thing. The answer is machlokes. Even if he's gonna eat everything, the shaykhus is pesach al yachid. Here's a big chiddush. It says ish. You shecht it for one person. So now we're stuck again. Now we don't have a pasuk. Says Gemara, he holds you cannot check the korban pesach for yachid. Therefore, we do have a pasuk, and that's how we know shlichos by kachim. Okay, end of the story. Now I know shlichos by kachim. So yesterday we had a whole sugya of shliach shalom k'moisa. How do you know you could send the shliach? We had truma, we had gitin, we had kachim, right? Korban Pesach. 3 comes Rav Gidel in the name of Rav, and ignores all those 3 sources. And he has a new one. Shelemah, how do you know this idea that you could send the agent and he acts as you? Shelemah v'nasi echad mimata. When it comes to the Yerusha Sa'aretz, here we have a stam, threw it in here. The nasi comes, each Shevet has a nasi, and he decides, here, I want this part of Eretz Yisrael, I want this, and he takes that. Each one takes a different piece. But he acts as an agent for his entire Shevet. You don't have the entire Shevet sitting there, oh, I want this. Somebody else does it. Says the Gemara, why don't I learn just yesterday's chart? Remember, at the end of the day, we had that you could get away with just 2 psukim of shlichus by Kachim and Gerushin, and you could learn from Kachim and Gerushin truma. Any question you have, Gerushin is chayil, a Kachim is not chayil. A Kachim I can do with my mind. Gerushin you can't do it in your mind. But Kitzer, I can figure it all out, and at the end of the day, I can learn other things from these 2 psukim. So then why does Rav learn from a 3rd pasuk? That Chalukah Sa'aretz, Yerusha Sa'aretz, you see that the Nasi does it. Why do I need that? Says the Gemara, because you misunderstood. Over there, Rav wasn't talking about shlichus. But this is shlichus who? It's not shlichus. How there are unfortunately orphans that don't have parents, and the Nasi gives them a piece of karka. Now, how did he give him a piece of karka? How could he say, you get Yehuda, you get Golan? How? He's a katan, he can't get anything. The answer is, The
kids got
I hear. I hear. I'm not so sure. I hear. He's saying that all ktanim get a piece. Could be he's right. You don't have to be an orphan. Elo kiho the Rabbi Baravuna. The Omer Rabbi Baravuna, Omer Rav Gidel, Omer Rav. Yeah, what do you have? I don't even have a tziyun that it's Rava. A lot of times in Shas, many times, Rav and Rava are interchangeable. Rabbi Baravuna, it says by you Rava? Yeah. Interesting. Archus is Rava. But there's no, I don't know if there's a name like that. Rava Baravuna. I don't, okay. Omer Rav, Gidel Omer Rav. Over here we're talking about tzchia, we're not talking about shlichos. Over here we're talking about the nasi literally picking up a bundle of cash for the katan. That you could do. You don't need the katan to appoint you as the agent. I'm doing tzchia for you. I found something good called Eretz Yisrael, a piece of land. I'm giving you a free piece of land. I'm being zocher for you, even though you didn't appoint me. It's a different halacha. Zachan l'adam shalei b'fanav. Shenemar. V'nasi echad, we can use this as a, even though it's a very, very famous Yisod, but all Yisods are famous. Zachin l'adam shalei b'fanav, went through many times, even in the last few months. I could be zoich in something, even though that person is not there, he doesn't know about it. If it's good for him, I'm giving it to him. V'tizbra, but wait a minute. That's only if it's good for him. V'tizbra schusi, ha'chayv v'nami yika. What if this is not the best thing for this person? Why? Some people like the views up there, even here in Eretz Yisrael. Some people like the top floor, they have nice views. Some people like the bottom floor because they have the big porch, they have a big chatzer, this. Some people like the middle floor. I have no idea why. It's nishtahi nishtaher, because it's cheaper. I don't know what. You get more for your money. But some people like it. In real estate, what's the famous thing? Location, location, location. You gave me a bad location. You did a chayv for me, not a schus. What kind of schus is this? Somebody is not going to get the perfect piece of property. Not every piece of property is the best in Eretz Yisrael. And you just gave this cotton a raw deal. So how's that a schus? It is better. But let me grow up and let me do it myself. I don't need you to give me a piece of property that at the end I don't like. Again, the same person. Over here you have orphans. We're talking about it. Let's say we're talking about a bunch of young kids under the age of bar mitzvah. They want to divide up their father's Yerusha. In other words, each kid gets somebody that's his apitropos, that he does it for him. The apitropos goes to town for him. They fight with each other. All the apitropos, 5 children, 5 apitropos. No, I want my guy to get a little bit more over here. No, but you had that, and they fight until each one gets the proper share. Lebovic Kaplan once said that his kids were fighting over a piece of chicken. So he said, okay, you know what? You, Reuven, you cut the chicken in half. And you, Shimon, get to pick any piece you want. He said that there's not a single measuring instrument in the world that can measure the perfection of the 2 pieces that happened from that chalukah. It was so perfect. No one in the world could cut a piece of chicken like that. So these apotropos are going to go to town, make sure that everybody gets exactly. And even if it comes out as a chayv, the kid at the end doesn't like it, it's too bad. It's a special halacha about an apotropos. We're going to have the apotropos do it for them. Says the Gemara, Lachav Amai. How could literally the apotropos is going to do something wrong against the Yosef? He tried to do the right thing. He fought, and he thought that the top floor is the best for this kid. It turns out the kid has a problem walking, and it's not good for him. He tried really hard to get him the best deal. And it turns out that it was a chayv at that. It's a special tikhu. It's a special halacha that we say by a yasam that apitropos has the final say for him. He's doing it for him. If they want to divide it, he does it for him, and that's it. Okay, this is what we're discussing. You have orphans, they want to divvy up the nechasim. So Bezdin appoints an apitropos. And each apitropos for each kid, it's not one apitropos for everybody. Each kid has its own apitropos. You get a nice portion. But once they grow older, they don't like what happened, they could make a macha and redo the whole thing. Rav Nachman said in the name of Shmuel holds it could take it back. Rav Nachman argues on Shmuel. That's it. Once it's done, it's done. You tell me Bezdin appointed, so you have to give the power to the Bezdin. And if Bezdin decided and their agents, their shlichim, their apitropsim, they divvied it up a certain way, that's it. Can't take it back. As the Gemara, but Rav Nachman himself says that we don't say Makoyach Bezdin Yafa. Rav Nachman became Makoyach Bezdin Yafa. But nan, so it says in the Mishnah, you have a loiva, a guy borrowed money. I love this. Guy borrows money. You take him to Bezdin. Bezdin says, you better pay up. So he says, yeah, I'll pay up. And what happens? He disappears. He doesn't pay up. So when you have a Bezdin, when Klal Yisrael is in control, you have Beis Hamikdash, you go to his house, you sell the house, and you pay down the loan. So when they sold the house, they sold it for the wrong price. They messed up. Bezdin didn't do a good job. They either sold it for too much or too little. So when it comes to, what does the article call it? Oh, price fraud. Okay, it's good. I know, somebody said, Sal Gaddis was saying that once I put these Yisodis, I should put it in English. Okay, try to remember. Price fraud. Basically, it's a very, very simple concept. There's three things that could happen. Either the Aina fraud is when you charge a sixth more than the market price. Oh, so it's either a sixth more, a sixth less, or exactly a sixth. Exactly a sixth. So if it's exactly a sixth, then all you need to do is pay the difference. Pay the difference and you're out of it. The seller could pay the difference. If it's more, it's bottled. So Shuma Deyonim,
He returns the shtus, but the sale is good. It's exactly a six.
The seller could return the shtos. Right, exactly. He returns the shtos and the sale is good. If it's exactly. If it's not exactly, then it goes back. Shuma Deyonim shepichas shtos or yisir shtos. They praise the value of the real estate more or less. Mikram bottle. So that when we say that the Bezdin doesn't have a koyach. He says that, what do you mean you take it back? Bezdin did it. Bezdin decided it. It was based on what Bezdin asked people to praise it, and they praised it the wrong way. You have to give power to the Bezdin, even if they made a mistake. Rav Nachman holds sale is bottle. So in other words, he doesn't hold of this idea of imkei makoyach bezdin yafa. We just said a second ago, when it comes to these soimim, we say imkei makoyach bezdin yafa. Says the Gemara Likashia. Mem beis, Amud Beis. Ha de to, ha de le to. When we're talking about yisoimim, they didn't make a mistake. There's no mistake. So imkei makoyach bezdin yafa. They didn't make a mistake. Bezdin said, you get the top floor. You, Yosem, you get the bottom floor. Then they don't like it. But they didn't make a mistake. So therefore, we say, listen, Bezdin decided, we go with Bezdin. But when Bezdin makes a mistake, so what if it's Bezdin? Bezdin doesn't have the right to make a mistake. They messed up on the value. Why should the Leiluy lose money? Because he didn't pay, okay, he was a bad guy, he didn't pay, but that's why he sold his house for half the value. Bezdin can't make mistakes. Take it back. Says Gemara, wait a minute. He got the top floor. He got the bottom floor. So what's his taina later on? He becomes 14 years old, 13 years old. He says, listen, I don't like the top floor. What do you mean? Based on what? Says Gemara, he has something to base it on. So it makes more sense, this idea, more than an apartment in fields. But let's say even an apartment. Let's say he got a Yerusha, the fourth floor from his mother, and they gave him the bottom floor. Now they're not connected. So he says, listen, it's not good for me. You're right. Value-wise, Bezdin did a perfect job. Perfect. Each kid got exactly $1 million apartment. One guy got a smaller apartment with a view, and the other guy got a larger apartment without a view. But in terms of, one thing he didn't take into consideration, that his mother left him a Yerusha, another apartment that's next to it in a different building. I don't want an apartment here and an apartment there. I want them together. That's the mistake. But the Bezdin didn't make a mistake be'etzem. It's just enough for him to make a macha. And that we're going to redo now because it's a good taina. I want it next to. Omer of Nachman, sponsors. For all those in need of a Refuah Shlema, Amen. By Kinnovations, in honor of my uncle Reb Elchanan Pressman, as a zchut for a year filled with Mazal Tov, Hatzlocha, and Parnasa B'Revach, for all of the MDY family. Amen. Omer of Nachman, Achim Shecholku, Hareim kilekuchos. There's a Yerusha. We don't know who gets what. So the boys make a deal between themselves. You take lot A, I take lot B. Now I become like a purchaser. We just purchase from each other. And memela what? Now we have the halacha, so we know. Pachas v'shtos, nikna mekach. If it's less than a shtos, it's not a problem. Yes, shtos, batal mekach. If it's more than a shtos, everything goes back. There's no fixing. You took more than a sixth, batal muvatal. Shtos, if it's exactly a shtos, kana umachzorina. The kinyan is chal, but you have to give back the difference. So, first of all, here's the pasuk. It says in the pasuk, you're not allowed to take oina, you're not allowed to do price fraud. What did he call it? Gouging. So I told you this ma'isa, but I'll say it again. I can't be Michael, this guy. Avi's here. I was in a certain place, I'm not going to mention the name, in New York, and the guy pulls this thing out, and he says, this has an unbelievable segula. It's torah. Now, I was a naive American. He says, this torah, it saves lives. Now, let me tell you a story, he says. He says to the whole audience, there's a guy named Avi Kamiansky that bought this torah for me, and he called me up to tell me that he had a fire, and then because of the torah, he was saved. What's the story, Avi? I don't even know what the story. Let's go weiter. The kid, so he says, Lamaisa, I have one box left, and this, and this, and this. If you have kids that can't sleep and they have issues with sleep, this mamish saves them. And now I'm there with my brother and my sister-in-law, and all their kids can't sleep. Melatonin, this and this, that, every AIDS in the world. So I see my sister-in-law like, you gotta buy this, you gotta buy this. So I go to the guy and say, how much do you want for this? Since there's only one left, and I'm like, I don't remember, it's $500. $500, but the guy needs to sleep. He needs to sleep. So I went and I bought it. Then I go online, it's like 30 shekel in Eretz Yisrael. I couldn't remember. That's Yonah. I know.
I know all the nonsense that he told you about it.
It didn't work.
No.
Straight out.
Also, there's a person that came to me. He said he bought from this guy an original pruta. I said it's not an original pruta. Based on it, it's not original. He told us he goes scuba diving. He finds prutas and slime. If you ever bought from this guy anything, give it back. Whatever. Okay, sure. So here's a few halachas we have. If a shliach does it for you, he does the purchase for you. Batal u'mevutal. This is a concept called the tikuni sheder tich v'leila v'usei. You tell the shliach, I only appointed you to do good for me, not bad. If the brothers measure fields, I get 100 feet by 100 feet, and it turns out it's possible, let's say, I don't know, you get an apartment on the first floor and the second floor. It turns out the part of the apartment, we're doing now renovation. We didn't mechap. We did a whole plan for the kitchen. We didn't realize we're going to connect two rooms and make it part of the kitchen. We didn't realize the building goes in like an L. So that other room that we're connecting is not even as large as we thought. So let's say you give one kid gets an apartment. Turns out that he has a dead space somewhere. I don't know. The elevator is there. There's a machinery room there for the whole building. So he didn't get what he thought. It's pashut, a mistake. You measured. You thought he gets a 100-meter apartment, and he gets a 100-meter apartment. Turns out one kid got an 80, and the other got a 100. Batal. Now, if Bezdin divided for you, so if it's more than a shtos, he has to pay the difference. If it's less than a shtos, it's a little interesting, because if less than a shtos, it works. It's good. Bezdin has the right. Now, if the brothers divided karka, so a shtos, if it's exactly a shtos, it works. More than a shtos, it's batal. Okay, so let's see inside. Like 6 lines from the top. It's only if he did it himself. So less than a shtos, it works. Even less than a shtos, less than a sixth of a mistake, but an agent did it for you. Omar, he could say, I want it back. I want to take it all back, even if it's less than a shtos. Why? There's a concept in Shas. I can tell you, I send you to do good for me, not to ruin it for me. So even less than a shtus or boisa, even less than a shtus, bottle. Yes, a shtus bottle mekach. And this that we said more than a shtus is bottle. You didn't invoke the bezdin. By the way, stam. So the Gemara says bezdin is kayim. If you say let's use bezdin, they use bezdin. I don't care what it is. Kayim. A very famous oinah that you would think is oinah, but it might not be oinah, is if you go to the airport and you buy a bottle of water for $10. You go to an amusement park and you buy a drink that costs $12 for. It costs them literally 4 cents of Coke. Is that oinah or not? You say like even in a hotel lobby, buy a bottle of Coke, $15. It's not enough. Why? Because you're paying, first of all, in an airport, you're paying the crazy rents, whatever. And in the hotel lobby, you're paying for the ambiance and everything else that comes along, the waiter and this and that. It's not, that's what they say when you make a shackle on a cup of water. You're not just saying shackle on the water, you're saying shackle on on the trees and everything around that Baruch Hu gave us. Okay. It's not. Don't get nervous. Easy stuff. When the Yonim decide to do an evaluation on something, if they valued it less than a 6, or Yisir Shtos, or they said it's worth more than a Shtos, Michrim Bottle. And we pass on Rishim Gamliel. Bezdin has the right to even make a mistake like that. And this that we say, that's if it's exactly ishtos. That's what it seems like. Exactly. You have to give it, it's a good mekach, and you just give back the difference. There's no oino when it comes to karka. So Taisus over here says, and this is what Rashi holds exactly, but Taisus says there's no oino in a karka, even more than a shtos. So if you overcharge somebody on real estate, according to Taisus, it could be, Rashi argues, according to Taisus, there's no enough. Yet, there's a story that there was a kohen in a shul who asked his buddy for a professional appraisal and opinion on his apartment. So the guy comes by and he says, "Oh, the apartment's worth $1 million." He says, "Yeah, it's worth $1 million." Yeah, he was very excited. He says, "You know what? I'll buy it from you." So he sold it to the appraiser, and then the kohen finds out the guy flipped it for 3 times the amount. So he's furious. He says, "This guy tricked me. He told me that it's worth a certain amount, and based on that, I sold it to him." So it's a little different because there was trickery involved here. And he said, "I'm not duchening for the shul anymore." Why? I can't duchen here because there's a guy in the audience here that I hate. So you have to do ba'ahava. It's not ba'ahava. How can I do ba'ahava? A guy just ripped me off like that. So Zilbishtain Paskin, and I don't know what the halach is exactly, but that's what he paskin. It says the guy is a ganav, he has to give back the property. That's what he said. Okay, so in this case, there is a no in karka. This is mamash no. I don't know what it is. It's stealing. It's lying. Okay, gnev is das the whole thing. There's when it comes to karka, we're only saying when a person values the karka. My apartment is valued like this. But if they measure the apartment, if you're off by 5 inches, then the mekach is bottle. You made a mistake in inches. Anything that has to do with size, and weight, and numbers. There's a story that's going around. I don't know how emes it is, but it's a gishmak story anyway. There's a guy that owned a tissue factory, and he decided, who in the world is going to count 100 tissues? Let me take off 3 tissues per box. I'll make a lot of money. The kid said he took off 97 tissues per box. Erev Yom Kippur comes, goes to the Rav. He says, "What should I do? I have charata. I stole from thousands of people." So the Rav said, the only eights is you have to add tissues. Because maybe those people that bought tissues are going to buy again, and you'll give it back to them. So now from now on, every box put 103. So okay, put 103 in every box. And this reminds me of another story, because I know this I read once. that, in America, they have on the toilet seats in airports, they have this plastic thing. You push a button and a plastic comes around the toilet seat. So one of the reporters wasn't sure. He thought maybe it goes around in a loop. So he wrote his name. He signed his name with a magic marker and he kept on pushing until it stopped. And he said, it doesn't go on a loop. Okay. So you have Meshuggah reporters out there. The guy took all the boxes of tissues. He opened them up and counted all the tissues. When it came to this guy's fact, everybody lied. Everybody was off. This guy gave more. So he put in the newspaper, he says, this is a chashuv company, this is a respectful company, they gave more. And then 9 months later, he did a lot of business. So, if you lie about an amount, you say 100 tissues and you put less, Ganav, Gneva, take it back. Now, Rabbi, so we're going to a new sugya of shliach l'dvar ver. Can you appoint a shliach to do something wrong? What's the answer?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Yes. In all cases?
Yeah.
Wrong. Nice guess. So, b'derech klal, the answer is no. But there are exceptions. 2 exceptions that I know of. Vad is not. You take somebody that doesn't have das, you give him a flame, and he goes and he burns stuff up. That's called a grama. You destroyed somebody else's property. Grama. You can't make a shliach. You can't take a cut and say, you be my shliach. He's not a shliach. There's no shliach. But you did something terrible, and you'd pay for it in Shemayim. We can't force you down here to pay for it. It's a grama. But if you gave it to an adult that has seichel, the agent is chayiv, not the one sending. We just established that the agent acts as you, so you told him to burn somebody's house down, so you should be chayiv, not the guy. Says Gemara, there is no shliach l'dvar aveira. You can't tell somebody to do an aveira. Damrinon divrei arav v'divrei talmud divrei mishoymim erev kippur. When it comes to, you have the Rebbeinu Shalom tells you, do not burn somebody's house down. So you can't say, but Reuven sent me. Yeah, it happens to us all. But those guys are doing it. He's also doing it. So what? Divrei arav v'divrei talmud divrei mishoymim. V'adesanya. It says that, interesting case. Mi'ila, we just here. I don't know if we ever put it in the Yidisah. We put it in. Mi'ila is when you use hegdish. You have no right to use it. But the only time you're chayiv in Mi'ila is when you do it by mistake. If you do it on purpose, it's not Mi'ila. You're not chayiv the chaimish and everything else. You're chayiv all this stuff. You tell your shliach, you give him a bunch of money without realizing, you don't realize that it's hegdish. It's owned by the Beis Hamikdash. You give it to him, you say, go buy me some apples. So he goes and he buys you oranges. If he would buy the apple, says the Gemara, says the Mishnah, he didn't listen to you, he bought the wrong thing, shliach mal. Then he is over on the Elo because he did it by mistake, but he didn't listen to you. But if he did exactly what the guy that sent him told him to do, he told him to buy apples, he bought apples, then Balabayis mal. Then the Balabayis was over Ami'ila. He also said the Balabayis me mal. But if he did exactly what he's told, who was over? The guy that sent him. Amai, name is we just established when it comes to Naveira, like Mi'ila, you cannot send somebody to do it. And over here, he sent the guy to do it. And who gets the Aveira? The sender, not the actual person. Real quickly, because it's Erevim Kippur. And we're talking about Shliach L'Dvar Aveira. So it reminded me of a Ma'aser Shkmataya, where there was a Reform rabbi who told his congregants, you don't have to fast Yom Kippur. If you pay me $100 each, I will fast for you. I'll be a shliach for you. So everybody paid him $100. Guy comes home at night, he starts eating. His wife says, what are you doing? It's Yom Kippur. He says, no, the rabbi's fasting for me. So why didn't you do it for me? Oops. So he gets in his car, he drives over the Rav, and he knocks on the door. He walks into the rabbi. He sees the rabbi sitting there and eating a steak. He says, I thought you're... He says, no. Be relaxed. For the tzibur, I'm a shliach, I'm fasting for them. For me, for myself, personally, I'm not. Okay. So, there's no shliach l'dvar aveira. Shani mila the alpha chet mit truma. Says Gemara, no, this is what you're saying, Judah. You mamish mecham to the Gemara. Chet. You could learn out Gzeir Shava from Truma, just like Truma, you could appoint an agent. So too, when it comes to Mi'ila, but it's a special case. Ma Truma, Mas Shliach, Av Mi'ila, Mas Shliach. Even you see this. Even you could say a var there that even a chet, you could learn torah from a chet. You could change a chet into schuyos and make a Gzeir Shava from. Okay, Givaldi. But at the end of the day, once we know that Mi'ila, you could do a shliach for Naveira, so learn the entire Torah from Mi'ila, then you can make a shliach for Naveira. Says the Gemara, I have extra time. No, because the shliach is very short. What, should we stop here? No, okay, we can't, it's too late already. Okay, we'll start over here. What is shlichus yad? The Gemara goes into the whole thing, it's all sugya. All right, Rabbi Sai, Motzei Shabbos, Bezer Hashem, 10 o'clock, 50 minutes later than a regular Motzei Shabbos. Motzei, what did I say? Motzei Yom Kippur. Then have a wonderful day.